You know, when I was growing up, cartoons were something that I just loved to dive headfirst into. Pretty much every day after school, I would come home, pop on the TV, and listen to a cartoon or watch a cartoon. Weekends were the same thing. Well, of course, except on Saturday mornings when I'd be watching Power Rangers and Big Bad Beetleborgs and all the other cool stuff that Fox had. Yeah, Fox Kids Saturday morning blocks were something that I remember fondly. But I'm not here to talk about that trip down nostalgia lane. Oh, no. No, that's for another day. Today, I'm here to talk about something that I love and admire more than anything itself. Something that I was so sad to hear left and so excited that came back. I'm here to talk about Toonami. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and welcome to Andrew Reviews, Toonami. Way back in 1997, Cartoon Network launched what would eventually become one of the greatest ideas it ever had. Keep that phrase in mind. Back in 1997, Toonami nailed the airways when it premiered on March 17th. And oh man, was it a welcome change of pace. Especially from the boring blocks that Cartoon Network had already had at the time. And keep in mind, back in Cartoon Network's heyday, they had High Noon Tunes and a whole bunch of other stuff that they constantly were pushing out, all of which had their place in history, mind you, but Toonami is something to me that will always hold true. Granted, when it first started, it mostly just consisted of Hanna-Barbera cartoons that were action-oriented, like Johnny Quest, G-Force, Thundar the Barbarian, stuff like that. But either way, it was cool. Hosted by Moltar at the time, Space Ghost's sort of archenemy, it was one of the greatest series to ever come out. Especially, let me rephrase that, it was the greatest block to ever hit the airwaves. And it lasted until 2008, seeing multiple iterations of the titular hosts, including the evolution of Toonami, which brought us Tom, the Toonami onboard modulator. At least that's how I kind of remember it. Ah, yes. I remember that day fondly. But Toonami basically started off as, just like I said, an average block. It replaced the Power Zone, which I honestly don't really remember much of, and just was so kick-ass. C. Martin Croker, the late C. Martin Croker, I should say, voiced Moltar, who would host the series and the block throughout the entire run of the day. And oh man, was it wonderful! Just the animations that it had, seeing a 3D CGI Moltar. Oh God, those were just days. Of course, those are just fleeting memories now. And Mr. Croker, you did a great thing. You will never be forgotten. But in 1999, Toonami decided it was time to kick it up a notch. That's right. Cartoon Network relaunched Toonami with a new environment, the Ghost Planet spaceship Absolution, and its new host, Tom, voiced by Sonny Strat at the time, introducing new viewers to the world of Toonami as it expanded and continued to grow and grow and grow. And I will never forget the opening line. And thanks to Wikipedia, I never can. Tom originally came on that original day by saying, "So this is a brand new Toonami, but the mission objectives remain the same. My name is Tom. I'm the new Moltar. Welcome aboard the Ghost Planet spaceship Absolution, Cartoon Network's first and only interstellar broadcast exploration vehicle. I'll give you the tour later. From this day forward, she is completely responsible for all Toonami transmissions. I'm taking you guys into the new millennium. No big changes now. Same shows, same attitude. New place to do it. New guy to do it with. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get back into it. Later." And that was what kicked off the Tom era of Toonami. And honestly, it was one of the greatest eras there was. This is when we started getting a whole crap ton of sweet anime shows like Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Mobile Fighter G Gundam, that crappy SD Gundam that we had. So many shows just jumped onto the limelight at this point. And this also was the start of what I like to call the best thing Toonami ever came up with. The total immersion events. Yep. So, total immersion events, or the TIE events, took place during an on-air version of Toonami and online at the official site. And the very first one was The Intruder, which has been the staple of the series since. And honestly, I would not mind an Intruder 4. Hint, hint, hint. And it just always holds a place in my heart because it's so cool to remember. And again, thanks to the internet, we can always have it with us. Because, hey, guess what? It's still here. Ah, yay. Ah. The total immersion event, though, The Intruder, did result in a sad and unfortunate demise of our wonderful host because he was devoured by the intruder. Yes, but fear not, because Sarah, his onboard companion and navigation system of the ship, decided it's time to upgrade Tom. Enter Tom 2, voiced by Steve Bloom, who would honestly carry it the whole rest of the way. Can't even tell you how happy that makes me. Yeah. Basically, after getting upgraded, they destroyed the intruder, or blasted him off the ship by destroying the engine, and basically just lisped and limped to the nearest repair station, where they were saved and repaired the absolution and took off. But that wasn't the only massive event that the first Tom gave us for the Toonami. We also had a special Friday night music video thing for Toonami The Midnight Run, which was another wonderful idea, albeit poorly executed plan that Toonami had. See, Cartoon Network wanted to capitalize on the nighttime programming and figured what better way to do that than to have The Midnight Run. Toonami on after dark, basically. And it was a good idea. I won't, I'm not going to deny that. It had more blood and violence as opposed to its daytime counterpart, and it basically just ran some uncut versions of, the anime that they already had on. Similar to what Cartoon Network did with airing the uncut Dragon Ball Z at like 10 o'clock for, I think it was like maybe a month or two that they did that, and just basically went on that way. But the special edition that I'm remembering was a music video hour. It was just cool, or 30 minutes or so, I don't remember. But anyway, it was just so cool to watch this. We got to be this is actually where I got introduced to the full first 4 songs from Discovery of Daft Punk. Oh man, I still remember that. Interstellar 5555, the story of the secret star system, will always hold a place in my heart because of that. That is where I found out about the rest of the songs. First, I just thought One More Time was just the simple, this is the coolest thing in the world. And we actually got the first 4 songs, including Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, one of my all-time favorites by Daft Punk. And on top of that, we also got some Gorillaz songs, including Clint Eastwood, and a few other strange songs. One about some clay animation guy that kept finding magic happiness in his belly button. I couldn't really figure that one out. The entire event was kick-ass and just was so Toonami at the time. And honestly, it always holds a place in my heart because of it. But, like with all things, it sadly had to come to an end at some point. But I'll get to that later. With Tom 2 taking over the reins after Tom 1 was destroyed, Toonami decided it's time to start kicking ass on Saturday mornings and introduced The Rising Sun, which ran from 9 a.m. to noon and sadly only ran from 2000 to 2001. It later went from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., then 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then basically just got and axed. Yeah, it was sad, but you know what? It was a good experiment. I'm not going to deny that. I remember watching that a few times. It was actually pretty cool. But Toonami wasn't just solely on Cartoon Network, mind you. It did also make a small appearance on the Kids WB, which really I didn't like too much. It added basically some weird shows and just basically did the what I'd like to call the Kids WB lineup with Toonami Flash, and it just wasn't that great. And eventually it was dropped and came back to Cartoon Network, where it belonged, mind you. And like the first Tom, the second Tom got his own tie-in event. Yes, the Total Immersion event, Lockdown. Premiered on September 17th and ran to the 21st in 2001. It introduced the introduction of Cartoon Network's first MMORPG, too, as well as record-breaking amount of page views for its website at the time. And keep in mind, back in 2001, that would have been pretty astronomical, taking that a lot of people were still using dial-up. I mean, at least everybody that I knew was still using dial-up. Not kidding. Basically, the entire event of Lockdown this time is that they're not fighting a blob, but a trash compactor that's sucking them in via a massive tractor beam, knocking out power to the Absolution, and they decide to launch the docks. Some robotic soldier mindless drone things that Tom, I guess, had created sometime after the intruder, and had them on standby just in case. Not really a bad idea, taking that you got your ass kicked in the last one. It's not exactly a bad idea to upgrade it. So, how did this end? Well, it was kick-ass to say the least, though I will admit not as cool as the intruder, but we did get to see some epicness in the final episode when the docks destroyed the security bot and took down the, tractor beam generator, freeing all the ships, and anyone that was still alive that were trapped in there basically could leave, including the Absolution and the one sending the mysterious message. Though the ship kind of looked familiar, too, now that I think about it, but it might just be my imagination. But unlike the first Tom, the second one got not one, not two, but three events that would change the course of Toonami. The second one being trapped in hyperspace. Honestly, not one of my favorites either. Basically, it ran for an entire week from September 16th to the 20th in 2002, and it basically was just Sarah getting infected by a computer virus named Swayzak, while Tom and Sarah were trapped in hyperspace trying to go back to Earth. Though Tom defeated Swayzak, it was just lackluster. It sucked. It wasn't that great. Toonami also did many other things, including events and stuff like that, but the final total immersion that we got for Tom wasn't exactly a total immersion for the second one. In fact, the only way you'd even know about it happening is if you read the online comic, which happily is still available to find if you Google search for it, and you honestly just have to Google search for it. Basically, it showed what happened to Tom 2 and showed us how we got Tom 3, the next incarnation of Tom that came out in March of 2003. Yeah, the more muscular, revamped one that came back, well, I'll explain that then. Basically, this was explained in the inverse of him being rebuilt after fighting a space pirate, and his voice became more human-like. Yeah. Unfortunately, unlike the different ones, though, it was a 2D universe, and it was just really stupid. The comic was dumb. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah. It was dumb. IGPX and many other programs joined the block at this time, as well as the block moving to Saturday nights. Yeah. It did. See, in April of 2004, the block decided, hey, during the week doesn't work for us anymore because too many kids are home from school, too much violence on TV, parents groups complaining, you get the gist of it. And it's like, let's put you on Saturdays. We'll give you a crap ton of time. You can go to town with it. And it actually worked out well. I'm not going to deny that. We got such great shows like Duel Masters, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, One Piece, Zatch Bell, and some episodes of Pokemon Chronicles, which honestly sucked. We also got some North American release productions like Teen Titans, Megas XLR, Justice League Unlimited, and IGPX. Yep. And honestly, it was good. I mean, I'm not going to, lie about it. It was good. Cartoon Network did plan to air Megas XLR on Friday nights, and other Cartoon Network action properties, namely Samurai Jack, Teen Titans, and Justice League, aired on Toonami, but were not exclusive to the block until their final seasons. So basically, you could watch them everywhere. I mean, I remember watching Justice League Unlimited on Toonami and then seeing it on Cartoon Network's regular block itself. And this lasted until 2007, when, to everyone's surprise, again, we're getting an upgrade. Yep, that's right. During a Shaolin Showdown marathon, there's a show I could review sometime down the road, we ended up getting a teaser for the upcoming new version of Tom, and this one, unfortunately, was not welcomed. Not by a lot of people. Yep. On March 17th, 2007, Tom 4 took over. Toonami celebrated its 10th anniversary, a montage which I still love to this day, and Tom was revamped into a shorter robot and was commander of a jungle console room with two other robot allies, Flash and Dee. And he basically looked more humanoid and really kind of creepy. Unfortunately, though, this version of Tom would not last forever. So, here's what happened. Cartoon Network decided we're going to be doing a whole bunch of movies and basically not having the regular Toonami block. The first full month of movies for their March Madness movie event was basically, I don't remember, was that year or the next year? I think it was the next year. You had The Invincible Iron Man, Mosaic, Hellboy, Blood and Iron, Stanley Presents the Condor, Spirited Away, and Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Those were the movies that basically aired on Saturday nights on Toonami when it was still running from 7 to 10 at this point. Honestly, wasn't bad, or 7 to 11 maybe, I think. But either way, it still wasn't bad. But the ratings started to tank, as if that was completely foreseeable. At Anime Weekend Atlanta, convention in Atlanta, Georgia, Cartoon Network decided that they were going to announce the inevitable, that they had canceled Toonami due to low ratings. Toonami then aired its final broadcast later that same evening. Bastards, they didn't even give them time. The final show set to air on that block was a rerun of Samurai Jack at 10:30, and employees who worked on the block moved to other parts of the channel, except for a few who left Turner to work for other companies, like Dennis Monley, who left Turner to work for Disney. Toonami Jetstream remained with the Toonami name until 2009 in January 30th, 2009, and that was it. We were all greeted at the final one with Tom's final message, except for me, because I didn't even realize that it had left. I thought they were just doing a block of movies again. They were taking a month off. I didn't know about it until years later when I was doing a project for school and I found out that Toonami was canceled and I got a little pissed. However, I got to see the final montage and the final words from Tom 4, who ended that evening's block of Toonami with the following. Well, this is the end, beautiful friends. After more than 11 years, this is Toonami's final broadcast. It's been a lot of fun. And we'd like to thank each and every one of you who made this journey with us. Toonami wouldn't have been anything without you. Hopefully we've left you with some good memories. So, until we meet again, stay gold. Bang. After Toonami's final episode aired, Toonami Jetstream subsequently shut down in 2009, marking the end of Toonami and its incarnations. And it was just a sad, dark day. Then a group of fans decided to come together and remake Toonami into Neo Toonami, which honestly was a really good thing to do. You showed that there was still some nostalgia left in the series, and that everybody wanted a piece of it. It wasn't officially licensed by Cartoon Network or Turner at all, so it was actually just a fan-made project. However, it ran into its own set of difficulties. The final thing of it being not so wonderful thing, actually. It showed some decent shows like Dragon Ball, Batman the Animated Series, just to name a couple. I saw the block a couple times, and it wasn't too bad, but then sadness had to come again. During their We're Gonna Have a Week of Movies thing, the streaming service that they were apparently piggybacking off of decided to cut the cord, as it were. Yeah, right in the middle of Summer Wars. Another thing I should review at some point. That was a good movie. I gotta watch that again. Anyway, after basically kicking their asses off, they decided to announce that they would be shutting down Neo Toonami. And that Friday night, we all saw as the new ship, the new Tom, and everything else crumbled into nothing. Once again, leaving a void in all of our hearts that can never be filled. At least until Cartoon Network got off their ass and decided in one final swoop that they should, in fact, actually bring back Toonami. First teasing it in 2012's April Fool's Day on Adult Swim, when they brought back Tom 3, and after playing that week's episode of Bleach, decided to give us some old school Toonami with Dragon Ball Z, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, Tenshin Muyo Ryuoki, Outlaw Star, and some good old Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, that following Sunday, Adult Swim posted a message to their Twitter page simply saying, "Want it back? Let us know. Hashtag bring back Toonami." Which I basically went nuts on, both Twitter and on the Cartoon Network's actual site. In fact, I didn't even have Twitter then, I just went to their actual site. But oh yes. And it was worth it. On April 4th, Adult Swim followed up this tweet with, "Bring back Toonami. We've heard you. Thank you for your passion and interest. Stay tuned." 4 days later, they announced 2 bumpers about Toonami. One stating, tweets answering with, "We're listening and we're looking into it." And this is an interesting little tidbit here, story-wise, if you will, because on May 16th, the inevitable finally happened. Now, they could have just kept this a massive secret and just blown everybody's mind when it came out, but something told me that night to watch King of the Hill. Now, I had been a on and off fan of King of the Hill for years, and honestly, I could stand the reruns if there was nothing else on during the 8 o'clock hour. And back then, for Adult Swim, that really wasn't that far-fetched of a thing to have happen. There really wasn't much on. It's like, oh, okay, screw it. I'll watch it. What the hell? So I watched it, and to my surprise, I saw a commercial with Tom saying, "Toonami's back, bitches." And that night, that's right, on that night, on May 16th, 2012, Cartoon Network blew everybody's mind. Oh, sorry. Well, it came back on May 26th, actually, so I was a little off. But anyway, they basically brought back Toonami. Yes, it consisted of Adult Swim's current action programs, along with some premieres of Dead Man Wonderland and Casshern Sins. Not exactly 2 good shows. Well, Dead Man Wonderland was good, but Casshern Sins was just stupid. On my birthday, though, that year, Samurai 7 and Eureka 7 replaced Dead Man Wonderland and Cowboy Bebop, and in essence, the revived block, very similar to the midnight run of the original days, began airing uncut programming, as well as having a more mature theme. On October 6th that same year, it expanded to 6 full hours instead of just stopping at 2 in the morning and restarting the whole cycle over again. Sadly, though, that's an idea I think they should have kept, but I'll get into that in a moment. With the full 6 hours, Symbiotic Titan and Thundercats, the rebooted version, not the original, were added to the block. Tenshin Muyo GPX was announced as the next premiere on November 3rd, as was the return of Inuyasha. On November 22nd, Toonami announced that it would air uncut episodes of Naruto, and confirmed that Bleach would enter reruns for 8 weeks, beginning on December 1st. On January 6, 2013, Toonami introduced a brand new blue color scheme after utilizing its similar scheme to introduce Inuyasha on the 3rd of the previous year, with new episodes of Bleach beginning on January 26th. And on February 16th, Soul Eater began airing on Toonami, replacing Samurai 7, which at that point had run through its entire allotment. Tom got some new designs. The Absolution were unveiled along with the announcement that the overall design of the block would be changed. And change it did. On April 27, 2013, Toonami premiered its new look, featuring the return of supporting host Sarah, now voiced by a new person, Dana Swanson, after being removed in 2007. To kick off 2014 the right way, Toonami began 30 minutes earlier and began airing a simulcast dub of Space Dandy. Yes, fact to be, we actually got it in the US before they got it in Japan, which was really interesting, at least to the best of my knowledge, though I'm not so sure about that 100% because I don't know how true it was, mostly because of the international dateline. But anyway, Space Dandy premiered on January 4th, even before Japan. The anime ran for its full 2-season, 26-episode run before ending in September. By the way, both seasons sucked. Yeah, it wasn't that good of a show. I'll review that at some point, too. The block also introduced a new aesthetic on April 6th. Its new look featured the return of Ninja Tune, the record label set for Toonami, and its first ever total immersion event came that year in the form of The Intruder 2. That's right, the first TIE event since 2012. Yep. And I remember that oh so fondly, because it ran from November 7th and concluded on December 20th of 2015. Yep. With Sonny Strat reprising his role as the original Tom, on December 2nd, Adult Swim announced that a new season of Samurai Jack was in production, or was being produced, and ended up premiering on Toonami in March of 2017. The conclusion of The Intruder 3 in 2016 led to another new look for Toonami. The new total immersion event titled Countdown aired on November 4th to November 25th of 2017, and honestly, that one wasn't too bad. But all things considered, Toonami still goes further and further, because they decided to bring new shows on, like Fully Coolly Progressive and Fully Coolly Alternative would premiere on Toonami in 2018, with dates set for June 2nd, and basically that was it. On April Fool's Day, Toonami was entirely dubbed in Japanese and kicked off the prank by airing the preview of the first episode of Fully Coolly Alternative in Japanese with English subtitles. Toonami followed the sneak preview by airing the film Mind Game, and aired programming after that was originally scheduled after Black Clover, except for Iron-Blooded Orphans, in original Japanese with English subtitles. Tom was voiced by Masa Kanomi, the Japanese voice of Wolverine, and Sarah was voiced by Fusako Shinotai, or Tani. On September 29th, Toonami expanded once again to 7 full hours from 9 p.m. to 4 in the morning, with the addition of Boruto, Naruto The Next Generation, and many others. And now, it starts off the Adult Swim block. You know what's really great, though, is that Toonami wasn't just a place where you could watch kick-ass action cartoons and anime. It was also a place where you could find out the coolest things about video games, because Tom would also review those from time to time. And honestly, they were all great. You had special promotions, you had specials all around, they talked about upcoming movies, they talked about a whole bunch of stuff and everything else, and it was all wonderful. And yes, while a lot of stuff was technically weird, strange, and, well, just everything else, still wasn't too bad. And all things considered, Toonami has never been better. Yep. But, then again, what do you expect from greatness? It can only ever get greater. Greatness doesn't really fade, does it? But, I don't know. Toonami will always have a place in my heart. Regardless of how bad or good it stays, it will always be nostalgia for me. Something that I will always remember and cherish fondly, because, well, I just have fond memories of it. I'm Andrew Rhodes, and thanks for listening.